Asana is a steady, comfortable posture. By lessening the natural tendency for restlessness and by meditating on the infinite, posture is mastered. Thereafter, one is undisturbed by the dualities. That firm posture being acquired, the movements of inhalation and exhalation should be controlled. This is pranayama. After mastering the posture, we must practice control of prana by controlling the motions of inhalation and exhalation. Some people think pranayama means holding the breath in as long as we can until the nerves are strained. No, our breathing should be gentle, slow, and fully controlled without any agitation.
Now we finished with asana. So we started with the 8 limbs. So we started with yama, niyama, asana. And now we're going on to the 4th one, which is pranayama. Now all of you have done pranayama practices, I'm sure. Now when we talk about pranayama, we're really talking more than just the breathing exercises. Please understand the real meaning of prana. We all try to get a definition of who God is or what God is, or the divine energy. And for me, it's very much related to prana. Because prana, we occupy space. Prana lives in space. It lives in the universe. It's everywhere. And they describe Ishvara, the divine being, as everywhere. So prana is something that doesn't belong to us, but it's a gift to the body. So that is why when you think of prana, it is called the power within, the spirit within. And of course, the graciousness of this universe gave it to us in love. And I love the way the Bible puts it. And then the Lord God breathed into the dust and man's body was created. So we started with breath, energy. So understand that we are composed of this energy. And so our system became into a solid space. But still our system, our body, our physical body is occupying what kind of space, you tell me? If everything is divine and if it's everywhere and we become material, we are occupying what? Divine space. So pranayama is that practice that helps us to continue the work with the space, with a bigger mission for us on earth, not to become so small-minded, but to remember that we are connected to this space, and in this space, in this energy, we can receive whatever we want. And this is why continuously we are told by the great ones, look within, kingdom of heaven is within, go within. But to go within, we also need to understand without. We need to understand what prana is. So prana in the body is deified as Kundalini Shakti. So Kundalini is the spiritual force that lives in all of us, right? So prana is the one that awakens, the Shakti is the energy that awakens our spiritual, our divine in us. Because when we're wrapped up in the world, we forget. We forget that we are divine. So pranayama is that practice that we can actually do with the physical body to get us back to source, because it is source. It is source. It is everything. It comes from everything. And so when I studied pranayama in the beginning, and I love to call her Parashakti, rather than think of her as the breath, I think of her as space and Ishvara, or the divine in us. And when you think of prana that way, the practice of prana becomes exciting, interesting, because it helps you to want to do it, because you realize it's the tool that connects the material world with the spiritual world. So prana is that divine energy that can come through the breath. Okay, so the breath brings in oxygen, but more than oxygen is this female, I call it the female Shakti. That's why it's called Kundalini Shakti. And of course you all know that we have, the spirit lives in this body, and it's awakened when Kundalini awakens. So the practice of pranayama, the inhalation and exhalation, helps us to connect with this energy. So here he just says, once you've got a firm posture, now posture is really important, and that's why we do asana, so that when we sit down, we're comfortable. When we're comfortable, the next step is then to go deep within with pranayama. 50. The modifications of the life breath are either external, internal, or stationary. They are to be regulated by space, time, number, and are either long or short. Now he's talking about the theory of the breath, how to get into it. So he says, watch the inhalation, watch your exhalation. They can be long, they can be short, you can retain them. And it is controlled by count. Okay? Count space, where it is in your body. Where do you bring the prana? Now, this is very useful when you're healing, when you want to self-heal or you want to help somebody heal. You direct the prana, the energy, using the mind and the breath together as one, and you bring it to that place that is hurting or is just unwell. And you send the prana there, and this is very effective, okay? So that's what it means by 50.
If you're counting, does that not take the focus away?
100%, and it's a brilliant question. Absolutely correct. And this is a method that, and also when you are counting, sometimes, like if you're counting numbers, let's say somebody wants to retain for 40. When you say 1, 2, 3, it's quick. But when you say 21, 22, do you see, it's a bit slower. So you're actually not getting the correct rhythm. Yeah, you're not falling into the rhythm like the Om sound. It's a rhythm, it's a pulsation, it's a vibration. It's a brilliant question. So I myself tend to never count. But newcomers, I teach them how to count. I myself use a mantra because the mantra is the same. So you just do your mantra, and with time, you don't even have to count. I said 4 mantras inhaling, 6 mantras exhaling. You just feel it with the breath naturally. And this is what we should do, because then the focus is within. It's a brilliant idea. Now, if you don't have a mantra, you can also use a positive affirmation. Whatever you choose that elevates the mind. Like for some people who are, I really want to know God, for example. Connect me to the divine. That's what I would do. For those who don't feel that way, they may say, connect me to peace or connect me to joy. The interesting thing is, and I hope we can practice it today, now, the interesting thing is when we start to do just normal breathing with a bit of retention, what happens is, as you keep focusing, and I will do this with you, focusing just on the breath, what happens is when you bring the breath to the prefrontal cortex, or what we call the third eye, right? This is why they call it that. Automatically, joy will rise in you. You don't have to make it come. It will automatically rise in you. Now, in the beginning, it may not happen, but with practice, it's suddenly you realize that you suddenly stop breathing. All the attention comes to this area. You'll actually feel all this glowing, and there's like a feeling of joy that's natural. And this is why we'll skip the 51 for the moment. In 52, Sri Patanjali tells us, as its result, the veil over the inner light is destroyed. But before we go to that, let's go to 51, where he says there is a fourth kind of pranayama that occurs during concentration on an internal or external object. What does this mean? Now, sometimes, when you're focusing on something, what happens? Your breath stops. You really concentrated, your breath stops. It literally stops. Now, this is easier to explain for those who do Yoga Nidra, right? When you do Yoga Nidra, haven't you noticed, at least I've always noticed when I put people in Yoga Nidra, their breath stops. And when I ask them to breathe again, they have to actually make an effort to breathe again because the breath is so quiet. And many times as I'm watching my students do Yoga Nidra, what happens? They don't breathe at all. I don't see any movement. They're not aware of it because the mind has become so quiet, so still, that this is really when the prana really works in our body. It takes us to a place of peace. And this is why Yoga Nidra is, of all the practices for me, the highest way to work with prana. I have seen that great shifts are made when people do Yoga Nidra. Great shifts. Maybe they don't do a lot of practicing. They do Yoga Nidra every day. And I realized this with my patients very early in the day, especially with beloved Paddy, whoever remembers our dear Paddy. And when she came to me, and she's told this to everybody, so I'm not telling you anything I can't tell, she was in such a bad place that when I asked her, what are you thinking? I don't know. She was in a state of panic, frozen anxiety, all in one. And they were giving her medication, which was making her even worse. I couldn't connect with her in any way. So I just told her, let's try Yoga Nidra. So I put her in Yoga Nidra and actually made a cassette for her. But specifically in those days was cassettes. Thinking, I said, just do this. Because the first time she did it with me, she actually smiled. There was some reaction. So what she did, she used to do the Yoga Nidra every day, 3 times a day. She's the one who taught me how effective it was. Sri Patanjali tells us, to the keen and intent practitioner, what happens? This samadhi comes very quickly. So she went to the hatha classes. In those days, I used to teach 2 or 3 times a week at the temple. She came to all the hatha classes. She did Yoga Nidra 3 times a day. She still couldn't go out to the supermarkets and do anything else, but she could do that, which was a start. Then within 2 months, she was able to slowly go out and see people. Within 3 months, all the medication had been removed. No more medication. Within 4 months, she was nearly back to normal. And she swore by Yoga Nidra. So she was my big teacher because I never did it 3 times a day. But she did. And she taught me the healing power when you are really focused and you really want to get well. She really did. Because she said she lost her mind and regained it by her own practice. And this is the power of pranayama. And this is the power of prana. So in the beginning, we raise the breath, we do the counts, etc., or use a mantra, or use affirmation that you like to repeat with the breath. And then later on, the breath by itself, through practice, you don't even need to do pranayama anymore. It stops by itself. And this is what happens for the practitioner who meditates, who does hatha. Hatha helps you get there. The meditation strengthens it, and the pranayama all together, the feeling of joy comes. When that feeling of joy comes, meditation is no longer a chore. It's no longer hard. Why? Because you felt that joy and you want it again and again and again. And pranayama inspires you to get there. So the fourth kind of pranayama, kumbhaka, is that silent one. And the yogis say, when you get into that kumbhaka kaivalya, what happens is you extend your life. Say your life is counted by the breaths you take. So you extend your life. Also the mind, emotions, and breath are all connected. When you're very calm, like now, the breath is very slow, very easy to fall asleep, very easy to rest, right? It is like that. It is like that because the breath is slow and you just want to go into this bubble. So, so pranayama in its final form is dynamic static energy. It's static, it's dynamic, and it's energy. And that heals the body. Why does it heal the body? As Jung says, Carl Jung, the great psychologist, says that when you touch your superconsciousness, then you're healed. As Hippocrates said, know the person that has the disease, not the disease the person has. See, big difference. So when you work like that, then healing starts to come. The best way, Sri Patanjali is guiding all of us to find the divine ourselves, because nobody can do it for us. He is telling us this is a method to use to heal yourself. Nobody can do it for you. It's the best medicine. Pranayama is a brilliant medication. So feel enthused, inspire yourself with the practice. And then he says, as a result, the veil over the inner light is destroyed. Now, if you remember in Sutra 28, what did we say? By the practice of the 8 limbs of yoga, the impurities dwindle away, and there dawns the light of wisdom leading to discriminative discernment. This is the light they're talking about. By these practices, the light of wisdom rises in you, because where is that knowledge? Connected to the prana, connected to kundalini, connected to the physical body and the external body. They say we have an aura space of about 12 fingers from our body. So if you count 12 fingers, this is our space. So we can get a lot more energy if we know how to use our space. And this is why also, when people are attacked, what they call psychic attacks, people wish you bad or they don't want something to go well for you, you should always protect this psychic space because they can't enter. And how do you protect it? With your prana. So pranayama helps you. Pranayama with a mantra creates a force field around you. So it's like a shield around you. So when they want to attack, it bounces off. It cannot enter your system. So the practice of pranayama with good thoughts, with asana, all together protects you as a human being. So there are people in the world that do wish us bad and do practice black magic sometimes, but their harm cannot come to us when we are of a higher frequency. So remember constantly, if you feel like lax, I don't want to do my practice, I need to protect myself. Because if I don't protect myself, who will? Who will? Nobody can protect you. You need to protect yourself. This is the God-given gift, pranayama, all right? So, and this is really lovely because when you start breathing, really the veil over the inner light is revealed. However, there's a warning. There's a warning with pranayama that all great masters speak about, all of them. They say, be careful. The practice of pranayama is so powerful that it raises the kundalini. So what happens if you try to force it and you do too much breath and you haven't built up to it? You have to build up slowly, slowly, slowly. You cannot rush it. What happens is Kundalini raises in your body, but then you've got problems. You've got anger, you've got hatred, you've got jealousies, you've got all these things. You're suffering, you're not happy. What happens? When the energy comes up, it magnifies that. It brings it up. I met somebody recently who told me that, she'd done some breath work and all her trauma came out. It came out. But after that, what? She didn't know what to do with it. Couldn't handle it. Because it was there, buried deep inside, but she wasn't ready to handle it. Because she hadn't done any pranayama in her life before then. She just went to do one of these forceful Wim Hof or one of them, which a lot of people are doing and some people are doing really well. But we've been warned against this, so I like to listen to the great masters. And they said, be careful, don't rush into anything. Anyway, she went into this state where she was going crazy with the trauma. And she got into a deep, deep, deep depression. She didn't know why. And she said, but my trauma came out. I said, but you didn't know what to do with it. You don't know what to do with it. And that's why you got so depressed. Because now, at least before, you thought you could handle it. Now it's right there and you can't handle it. So what happens? The next step, deep depression. I can't live like this anymore. I feel bad, and repeating, I feel bad. So this is why it's so important to not rush this process, okay? Take it easy. I mean, if you're an advanced practitioner, you can do all the breath work you want. Gurudev once told us a story many, many years ago. He said one of his students came to the ashram and they were teaching Bhastrika. And Bhastrika is the forced inhalation and exhalation. So I'll just show you. I think most of you know it. It's just, do it with me. Inhale. And exhale fully and completely. Close your eyes. Notice the energy in your body. Where are you feeling it? Remember, Sri Patanjali said space in your body. Now open your eyes. You see, with a little, could you feel something? Yeah? For those who've been practiced a long time, very easy. You feel it right away. Okay? If you're a beginning practitioner, it takes longer to feel it. But you feel it right away. You can feel something coming up your spine. You can feel it tingling. You can feel it in your hands. And this is absolutely wonderful because it connects you to your spiritual self and also connects you. It heals the nervous system at the same time. So it's wonderful for any disease. But, so this guy that went to Gurudev, he loved it. So while he was at the ashram, they were doing it slowly every day. As you know, after the hatha class, we all teach the pranayama slowly. But he loved Bhastrika because he loved the way he felt, right? So Gurudev, he was Gurudev's student. Gurudev said to him, he said, I'd love to do this, Guru. I want to do it more because I feel like I'm floating and I want to be floating. And Gurudev said, slowly, slowly, slowly. Take your time. You've just started. Wait. He didn't listen. He did it. And he came back to Gurudev 6 months later. Apparently, all the veins in his eyes had all bursted. He got into terrible trouble with his body. Wasn't ready. It's a force. Kundalini is a force. It's Parashakti. It's an electrical field. It's like he said, why would you put a 120 into a 220 socket? It will blow. So you have to prepare yourself. And this is why I love Sri Patanjali. So he tells us, right? Yama, niyama. Fix your mind first. Then fix your inner self. And then asana, get your body healthy. And then pranayama. do not do pranayama until you are ready. But nowadays there's so much on the internet and everybody's saying do this, do this, do this, and everybody is following. And my worry is, yes, old practitioner is beautiful because you get further study, no problem. But people who are new, it's very, very dangerous. And I just had that told to me recently when I was away, that this person got into deep depression because of this, okay? So it's happening everywhere, and I don't know how many places. And then my daughter-in-law told me of a couple of her students also trying to do all these astral traveling things that's on YouTube now, as you know. They're all there. They all sound very mystical and exciting. But as Gurudev says, do not do these things, because if you leave your body, you never know what can enter. And you can see people can go quite crazy with spiritual practices. Well, we've seen it. How many teachers have been intoxicated with this prana, and because of the power it gives them, manipulate other people. And they have the power. Why? Because they build up the prana around their body. And so they have more space. So if a person is weak, what will happen to the person? Swallowed in the magnetism. Swallowed. And this is why we see so many people get swallowed by, all this fancy talk. And the most important thing I can teach you about pranayama is go slowly, and we'll do some breathing, and it is so great. And in time, when you are ready, you will know it. You'll be guided. The teacher will come to you to teach you the pranayama you need at that point in your time, in your life. Everything will be guided to you. You will see that. But when you try to rush the process, you really will fall. And I can't say this enough, because nowadays I see so much of it. But I see so much of everything, right? You turn on the YouTube, they talk about spirituality. And all of it is bringing people to more desire. I just see that you want to be rich. You do these, isn't it true? Oh, you want your life to work for you. You want all your desires to be fulfilled. It's great, but is that what you really want? Do you know? And then what happens if they don't get what they want? I focused all the time that I'm abundant, I'm getting this. Yes, but it has to be from within. And when does it come from within? When does it come from within? When you have the deep faith. It can't come from without what people tell you to do. But it can come from within when you really, over time, and you practice for a long time without a break, and that love comes out your heart. It comes from where? It comes when you look after your animals, or you look after, people. When you serve, it's a natural way of coming up. And then you want to use your prana, your personal prana, that's given to you for your life, however long it is or however short it is, to be useful, to uplift, and never to take somebody else's energy away from them. You got it? This is happening too much. And people are focusing now not on finding the peace within, but on that big mansion that, I listen, if you do these meditation practices, I'm going to get that big mansion. But maybe that's not for you in this life. We don't know. And it's all this controlled thinking. So you go from the frying pan to the fire. Gurudev used to say, silver cage, gold cage, still a cage. And the whole idea of yoga is to freedom, born free, right? We were born free. All these things put us into prisons because they make you feel, if I haven't become famous, or if I haven't been recognized by the world, then I haven't done my best in this life. And it creates this anxiety. How can that be good for you? I always say, be careful what you ask for. You may just get it. You may just get it, and sometimes you think this is what you really want, and it doesn't have, is not good for you. And they use this as kind of like magic, using their prana to attract these things to them, and it will come. But if it's not meant for you, it will go, and then it'll hurt you even more. And I've seen that again and again. It's great to be reaching 70 this year because you see so much in your life. What I knew at 35 is so different to what I've seen of life now. So, the way I teach is really, I think God is in all of us and we're all divine. And I think we need to become very strong, each one in ourselves, to trust that. And the only way you can is what I read, Kahlil Gibran wrote. He said, God said, love your enemy. So I started to love myself. I loved it. Kahlil Gibran. Isn't that great? I thought it was so great. Because really, in Bhagavad Gita, you are your best friend, your worst enemy, right? So I think there's enough to do in this instrument, and life is too short. It's too short to give your power away. And that's why people don't like me so much, because I keep telling them there's no magic. The magic's in you. The magic's in each one of you. And if you can develop that, you become extremely strong and you live with a divine will. The intuition is really strengthened by pranayama, because your focus is correct. As you think, it will become. So if your focus is to get vitality, strength, loving energy, the ability to have courage when things go wrong. I think this is where people fail. We're very weak. And pranayama, the practice, will help you, because where's the focus? I need this so I can live a good life. The best life I can, that was divinely given to me. And all these things are telling you can control the outside world, but I have seen people cannot. And they still, old age is like Shankaracharya said, in Bhaja Govindam. He said, the 6th century saint, when he was passing a village and he saw a very old man studying grammar rules, and he goes, "What, are you blind? Why are you studying grammar rules at this age?" The next thing is what? Death. So what should you be looking at? Your spirit. Because we're prana. So if you practice pranayama, you think logically. You see, if you think about these things logically, your intelligence, the light over your veil will come up, because it will tell you. Okay? It will say, okay, you came, prana entered the body, prana leaves the body. So if I practice pranayama during my life, when it comes to my last breath, I will understand and gently melt into prana, rather than fear death. Because you've been practicing pranayama all your life, it becomes easy at that moment of death to just merge into the Om. Right? Just to merge, because you've been practicing. So this is what's done for. It's done for, the practice is for us to, the spiritual path really is a razor's edge. All of you know this. It is. Sometimes I wonder why we get on it, but the alternative is worse. It's a razor's edge, because when you finally get to realize, oh my God, really, we go through all these things in life, right? Heartbreaks, joy, everything. And really in the end, as Buddha saw, sickness, old age, pain, suffering, and you go, what for, right? This spiritual life will help you understand what for. It will help you to see why you're here. And then you see everything as a play. And pranayama is that great practice. So let's start to do some pranayama now. And the pranayama I want us all to do is going to be really quite simple, because many of you know what Kapalabhati is, you know what Bhastrika is, you know most Brahmari, you know most of the practices. So for me, as in the early years, I did all of them, year after year after year after year, until the time came, one day I was sitting, nothing. So now I do pranayama for my health. because my lungs aren't so strong. So I have to remind myself to do the practice. But for meditation, I'd maybe do 1 or 2 breaths and it's gone. The breath retains by itself. Now, did I really practice to do that? No. I have to be quite honest. It happened with time by itself. It happened by itself. And it's such a gift because you can sit anywhere and steady your mind amongst all those thoughts, because people will always tell you how to think and how to be. And I call myself a yogi rebel because I really don't like to be told. I like the great masters to be my teacher and my intuition with the divine, and always working on the 2 things, ahimsa and satya, which is non-violence and truthfulness. So long as we work like that, and for the good of creation, for the good of the world, we stay safe, and it will give us what we need. As Gurudev said to me, just do these things now, purify the mind. When you are ready, God will use you. But everybody else, you look on YouTube, everybody's telling you what you think God should make you do. I mean, hello? Who can know the mind of God? Who can even say all these things? How many predictions people told us when COVID came afterwards? Oh, I knew it was going to happen. Very easy to say on the afterthought. Isn't it true? But were we told? And then, do you remember 2012? I never forget that. The amount of people that asked me, we're going to have a mega tsunami, everything's going to be destroyed. Do you remember? It was 2012, yes. Wasn't it? Oh my God, spiritual people all over the world, Nalanie, we're doomed. And I go, really? I said, I remember in 1960 something, I was in Hong Kong, I think it was 66. It's a newspaper heading, end of the world. And I was very young and I was so scared and I panicked and I couldn't sleep, and we had a Chinese armor we had. That's I'm going to die because it's the end of the world. Oh, rubbish, nothing happened. Do you know what I'm saying? People are always saying things and we get so caught in it and so frightened that we don't live our life. That was such a good lesson for me so young in my life. After that, when people told me, no, everybody thinks they know. You see, this is wonderful. This is how I like you people to see life. Exactly, your spiritual practice has taken you to that place of thinking. Thank God. Because how many people are so scared, even in their old age, broken bodies and still holding on. And you're thinking, oh my goodness, I like my body to goodbye, let's get a new one now. Do you know what I'm saying? It gives you that freedom. You're not trapped in these cages. They're cages, really. But let's try and make it a gold one. And that's really it. So let's do what I would like you to do is really sit straight and give your body a good stretch first, just to get some energy, and stretch the body side to side. Let's see, just move the body, move your head, and now just inhale and do a chair cobra. Bring the shoulders back and relax the spine. Have the palms of your hand on your lap. I like them facing upwards. Most people have them down. I like them facing upwards because I feel like I'm receiving something. I'm getting a gift.
You feel it in your
Yeah, you can really. Yeah. So you can feel the energy coming in, and it's a great feeling. So that's why I love to do it like this. And we're just going to do some. Let me just explain what we're going to do. We're going to do deep breathing. I'm not going to call it 3-part breath because I don't want you to stop the breathing or jerk at any point or force at any point. So, and then I'm going to ask you to go at your own pace, all right? So, for example, we'll start taking a deep breath. Relax, very relaxed. And when you feel the breath reaching that place of fullness, you naturally exhale. And when you can exhale no longer, but not forced, The moment the breath stops, it will stop somewhere in your body. You inhale again. No jerks, make it really smooth. As you're breathing in and out, try and prolong the inhalation and prolong the exhalation. Apply the mantra with your breath. Remember, no jerking, just smooth breathing. Deeper and deeper. Now I want you to watch where the breath, when you inhale, goes to and where it stops at. And when you exhale, the same. Does it reach your nostril? Notice as you breathe deeper, the breath goes further. Beyond your nostril, when you exhale, to the crown of your head and your forehead. Breathe a few times deeply till you feel that energy touch what they call your third eye. And notice a little feeling of joy in your heart as you touch the third eye. Just keep going. Don't imagine, don't force. Just watch the breath where it reaches to the base of your spine, to your feet, and when you exhale, nostril or beyond the nostril, where does it go in you? Remember, we are all different. Touch that space of joy. Now notice as you start relaxing the breath more, the inhalation and exhalation by itself slows down. Allow it. And the space where it touches in your body is different. As it slows down, breath naturally is retained by itself. It's hard to breathe even, soft breaths, so quiet. Feeling the breath from your heart to the crown of your head. Feeling the joy from the heart to the crown of your head. And just allow it to do what it wants, the breath. How quiet is the mind? Just hear my voice. Feel the energy in your heart zone. The Lord of Love, no larger than a thumb, lives in the hearts of all. Observe your body. Observe what's happening internally. Notice that the tongue will gently roll backwards to the upper palate of your mouth. And now breathe in deeply again. Feel it's an effort. Take a deep breath. Again, naturally breathing in. Filling every single cell in your body with this God-given prana. Feel it healing your entire spine. Imagine a light now as you breathe in and out, coming up your spine, healing your nervous system. And before you open your eyes, it's a very good time to send healing to anyone you know that is suffering, including yourself. And feel the abundance in just feeling that. The joy that you have the ability or the gift to be able to uplift another being, another brother, another sister from where you are. And whenever you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. You will notice, if you listen at this point, you can hear the hum. Thank you. See, you don't need to do too much. Do you see how the real pranayama works, the prana works? And then you just feel it in your body, so the focus is there. And then you know you have the knowledge, and this is where the knowledge helps. You have the knowledge of your chakras. You have that knowledge. So use that knowledge. If you feel any blockage, bring the prana to that area. So if you are hurting, bring it there. If you feel insecure, take it to your Muladhara chakra. Fill it with that cosmic energy and say thank you. Thank you for healing me. Because the faith has to come from you. And when you say thank you for healing me, that's inside. You're talking to the Lord of Love from inside, not from what people are telling you to think or to say or to do, but it's genuine from you, your communication to the divine. There's no interference from anybody else. And this is the importance of pranayama, that the deepest importance for me is that. So all these practices are great, great fun. Yes, they get you to these really exalted states. But for me, and I may be wrong, but I just want peace in life, don't you? I just want to keep it quite simple, less stuff. Less stuff every day. People tell me, I say, too much thinking, too many thoughts, too much. Make it quiet. Make it quiet. And if you can't, pranayama helps you. Make it quiet. Make the thoughts less. So many needs, so many thoughts. Less needs, less thoughts. And all these things are telling us to put 1,000 million positive affirmations in your head. You have no time to even absorb them. So choose that which is that you want for you.